During the February 9, 2026, 5 p.m. TIMA Technical Committee meeting, chaired by Committee Chairman Jeffrey Gallagher, video footage shows pools of chlorine collecting on the floor of the water plant, apparently leaking from unidentified piping. Chlorine gas was visibly present in the air while committee members were working on matters concerning the water system. Several days later, a TIMA customer visiting the office observed that the door to the plant area had been left open. The customer photographed additional pools of chlorine standing on the plant floor. In the video, a pool of chlorine is also visible beneath the desk where the committee chairman was seated, directly under his feet. Given these conditions, it is necessary to explain the dangers associated with chlorine gas being released into the air and inhaled by humans. Health risks of chlorine gas exposure. Chlorine gas is a potent respiratory irritant. When inhaled, it reacts with moisture in the eyes, nose, throat, and lungs to form hydrochloric and hypochlorous acids, which chemically burn tissue. This is why even low-level exposure can be harmful. Documented effects of chlorine gas exposure. Authoritative medical and public health sources describe the following risks. Immediate, acute, effects. Burning of the eyes, nose, throat, and lungs CDC. Coughing, chest tightness, and shortness of breath poison control. Irritation of mucous membranes at concentrations as low as 1 to 3 ppm Wikipedia. Risk of toxic pneumonitis or pulmonary edema, fluid in the lungs, at higher concentrations, which can be life-threatening Wikipedia. Serious or high-level exposure. Severe lung injury, including airway swelling and impaired breathing poison control. Chemical burns to respiratory tissues due to acid formation in the airways. Physicians for Human Rights, PHR. Potential respiratory failure in extreme cases CDC. Delayed or long-term effects. Persistent respiratory problems, including asthma-like conditions or reactive airways dysfunction syndrome, RADS, CDC. Chronic cough and airway inflammation from repeated low-level exposure Wikipedia. Why this matters in a water plant. Chlorine gas is heavier than air, so it settles near the floor exactly where the puddles and fumes were observed. This increases the likelihood that anyone working or walking through the area would inhale concentrated fumes. The presence of chlorine puddles and active off-gassing in an enclosed or semi-enclosed workspace represents a significant occupational and public health hazard.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Technical committee meeting. I'd like to start off with the email. Tracy, did you receive this email? Technical items for Monday's meeting. From Skyler. I just wanted to turn on and touch base on a couple of them. He comes in.
How are you doing? Good, brother.
Well, preference on what I said.
All good here?
Yeah, we started the meeting and I turned on and start with your email. Just automatically what we're looking for.
Perfect.
You want me to lead or you take that? Go ahead.
Alright, so just a couple things I threw together here in regards to a couple things that we've talked about over the past couple months, GEF's thoughts, how we can address them, the order in which these can be done. That's completely up to you guys, obviously. There's a couple costs associated with that, and I also have some things that aren't on here that I know Jeff had mentioned that I did some research on as well. So just coming down through, starting with upgrading the supervisor PLC. We've done the upgrades on the supervisory PLC in the plant here, in the office rather. Everything's done there, to my knowledge. DJ told me it's good to go. So now we're kind of moving on to the other stuff. supervisor PLC and the skid PLCs / HMIs out here on the units themselves. Starting with the supervisor PLC, that's the original PLC for this plant. This was constructed in 2005, so that would be the main panel out here. Correct? Where's the main panel here? Is it in here? The main panel is in here? Okay.
The supervisor panel's in here, and then you have
Two HMIs. So you don't have one in here though. That's kind of a new, well, not new thing, but that's typically how it is. Okay. So we got one in there. So yes, you're correct. That is in there. That's original to the plant. It's pretty outdated. When Chris was here a couple months ago, we discussed, this would be part of a bigger upgrade project. We really think we should knock that one out sooner, and that's kind of what we move forward with. The cost is there at almost $18,000. That is for the supervisor PLC that's in your office. The skid PLCs are next. Those are individual for each skid. There's an estimated cost there. It's the same thing. That's original to this plant. They've reached the end of their usable life. If they fail, you can still operate with the PLC, with the supervisory PLC that you have, but we like to have local controls for each skid as it is. Not as imperative in our opinion as the supervisory PLC. DJ has stated that it would take a day or two to get these up and operational before those fail. So you still have the use of your skids, the local controls, about a day or two. And that does not include him obviously getting the parts to do that. Cost to do both of those is $35,736. So if you want to do one, cut that in half. That is for both skids, yes. That is each one on each skid. Supervisory one is in here. About 18,000. Yeah, pretty close. Moving through here then, we have the replacement of the drying bed media. So in July, this came up. Tom had asked for specs on the sand media for the drying beds out here. I sent that. Yes. I sent that to Tom Dixon. I think I CC'd everybody here on that. He had asked at the time if that had ever been replaced yet. He said that pretty sure it hadn't been. So with that in mind, knowing that it's 20 years old, GDF's recommendation for that, you got to replace it all. It's 12-inch down. And then moving forward, hopefully you keep it on kind of an O&M schedule. Whenever you start to see that you're not getting your settling that you'd like, you replace the first 3 to 4 inches, and you just do that. And then as you see your settling slows down again, you bump it down a layer and do 4 to 6, and so on and so forth until you're eventually, we're being able to hold that replacement. The timing of that, how long that'll last, is how often you pump those out. I don't know how often they pump them out. I'm guessing when you're on strictly the reservoir, you don't have a whole lot falling out from there. But when you're running the wells, you're going to have more falling out of it just because of the iron in there. That's just how it's going on. That's also very important for your MPS discharge, which I said to everybody when you see that's good news. I think DEP got their hands slapped from the EPA. We get a lot more of those the last couple of months. Not quicker turnaround. We're starting to get a bunch of them that we submitted a long time ago. We're known as being wonderful.
How many PLCs are in here?
There's 2, one on each skid.
Thank you.
Yep. The next thing is the lighting. Yep. That's the last question. Yep.
What documentation that we need to follow the operator that we found whatever we mentioned? And then this case found the report that had commented by a form request for the waste tank. But from that waste tank there is no, there's two pumps out of that waste tank. We're trying to go below, but the third one is a floating one. We're trying to pump off to the ground district to the property. Shooting everything down and moving it out.
Ideally, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a huge thing. You you just need to make sure you're meeting your NPS discharge, which there's monthly, weekly, daily samples, daily, I believe, on TRC. There's certain samples that you need to be taking to your discharge. We always try to meter what we're sending to them just for information purposes. They're good to have. Two, three, maybe? We're typically a 3 or 4
Where would you put the meter at?
just on that one coming out. Where's our discharge at? What's going on? Go over here. We had talked, let's say the second or third month I was here, one of those waste boxes is all over forever.
Yeah. And I needed to use a lot of them in the box. Yeah, there's a, you know, which one? It's changed now. The one that goes both ways.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, in the mailbox, we never did have an electrician done, not looked at it, but the consensus was not an electrician at the time. From one that we never thought was $1,000 part, they did it down transfer to one of them, and see if I can recall right.
Okay. The other day, that's why we always put 2 in, in case one gets that. But if you got one down, it'd be ideal to get that up and running in case you have I don't have a cost on the sand drying bed, media replacement. Tom Dixon was big on he can get it cheap. So give me the specs and we'll see what we can do. Yes. You could, you have someone to send it. Yes. I would assume there was, but if Jeff knows if it's not. I don't have the drawings.
My question, if that's 4 inch, what would, flow and volume, what would be the minimum meter that we could use? It doesn't seem like there would be a lot of pressure there.
It's a smaller one. I don't know the particular one.
What about the ones like for the house, would that be enough?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Like 3/4 inch, or like that.
3/4 inch meter? You gotta watch and make sure
The
you're not.
house,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, I mean, geez, you don't need a 4 inch. You wouldn't have.
No, you shouldn't have.
You know?
That's why I was asking if I wanted it, I was
Yeah, so not driven by flow and volume, because of what,
energy.
Oh, yeah.
because I thought it was meter. How do they know that you get rid of it? Okay, so, thanks.
Any questions for the line?
You do have to report how much is being released on that other permit,
The discharge permit? No, you have sampling requirements for that.
and that's all?
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess we would want you to reach out to media.
What'd you say?
Yeah, yes. I mean, it's all to get it. He's more than welcome, Tom Dixon to get it. He's more than welcome to do it. I sent him the specs, he has the gradation that's needed.
Not seeing what we were doing in this area, or what we were walking through.
Honestly, that I don't know that I've ever actually been a part of a sand project. We do a lot of revision work. Altoona has done that deal with their electrical source solid. That's what we run into a lot of times. You know, we don't have that many plants that, and I consider this direct filtration, it's still not, if you have the reservoir work. You know, it's that and as you said, basic for you. When you turn on the well, almost all the plants that we built in the last 20 years have set basic associated. So as far as what solids they need to pump out to the drying beds, a lot of times it's not.
This is what they get out of that wall.
It And they would do it so little that by the time they need to do it, the drying beds are old, and they just have it pumped out directly from the tank. And that's not an option you guys. You can have it pumped out, but you have the drying beds much more. If you're going to pay just as much to haul it out, you're going to go to haul it out. Another question on the drying beds. All right, the last meeting, the lighting issues came up here at the plant. With where we're at right now, GDF's recommendation, it always is going to come back to, yeah, of course you're going to design, you're going to get paid for it. But we can do a lighting plan. That's what we recommend. It's going to cost $1,600 for us to do the lighting plan. That would include changing out all the fixtures in this plant to LED, elimination of a couple because you shouldn't need as much, obviously, and selecting fixtures for that project. We confirm, once we do that, we can have those purchased through Coast Guards to save you guys some money, and then you just need to get those from the contractor to come in and install the lights. The other option is you just go out, solicit those from the contractor, and you can have them do the work. You save $1,600 for us to do the lighting.
Can't you retrofit all those? I did.
Almost positive you could, yes.
You just take one side off.
I guarantee you this, Grants.
What's the other one that I know what competency is on the new program?
M-O-O-R-E?
M-O-R-E. It's about energy savings. Well, you can turn on the clock with these grants and you can turn and do more research into it. I would like to have somebody look into that and see that program and what it's all about. And our needs to show that we have on the scale of the bigger picture, we're looking into this. We're not looking for $2,000 or $3,000 worth of lighting fixtures now, but energy saving, we could be looking for $15,000, $20,000.
More program. That's 3DEP. Alright, I can do some digging on that. See how in depth it is. See what they might have 1,000 people apply for it and award 10 of them a year. We don't know. That's usually the hold up with grants, but it could be one that nobody even knows about. The communications upgrade, this is a big one. This is one that, I think it's a no-brainer in my opinion. I think it's going to save you guys money. In the long run, it's going to cost a little bit up front, but you're going to make that money back pretty quick. So, CW Automation, the estimates attached here, this is to provide internet services and monitoring and communications between the plant, the tank, and the wells. So the internet that they're going to use for this is AT&T FirstNet. AT&T FirstNet is available to local municipalities, government agencies, fire departments, things like that. The service has been really reliable. DJ's been using it for quite some time, and this would pretty much, to summarize, the work at the plant would feature a change from remote monitoring of key viewers to a secure VPN access with any authorized device. Now, the importance of that is that this method meets the Department of Homeland Security's requirements for internet security and water systems. TeamViewer is great, it does not meet that requirement. The tank work includes expandability such that the tank's flow meter signal will totalize flow and provide additional information for leak detection. There's two options here for the well bore. You can simply update the internet dialer and hardware, which would allow remote monitoring of the well. So it will give you feedback on what's going on at that time. That function is not currently available. Or, you totally upgrade the well building, and it will allow remote control and monitoring of that well building. I think that's a great thing. It would save your workers your time from needing to go up and check on that well building regularly. It helps with quality control of the plant. I think it's a very good thing. At the very least, I definitely think think we need to proceed with the internet services upgrade. It's going to cost you a little over $8,000 plus $67 a month. You're already paying over $700 a month for internet throughout the system. It's going to pay for itself.
Can you go into this kind of time frame now? All of these costs.
Yep.
What is covered? That's internet. We have internet access. Does that mean now it's on?
Correct. You would have to pay the $10 a month.
So you have to refund.
Yep.
Internet services and sensors.
Yep.
That's the fee that we have in the home system now.
This would be an upgrade. This would be a change. Your sensor phone's going to stay the same. There's going to be a change in the internet there. That's a monthly fee as well, $75.
What other locations like out of the reservoir, if we have this AT&T, we should be able to have service out.
I believe you should. DJ did not go and check that though when he was here. If its signal is
Okay. If we can get it out there, we have that capability out there, and it's the 360 and the
and that you would have an additional cost associated with that per month. That's not in there now.
But there's also something that we don't have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But
Right.
I'm saying, as long as, for what we're paying for now, $700 a month from this space from what we're not getting before. If you're starting over here and it's 66 something, and you can kind of add to it and more, but that goes in $150.
Oh, my gosh.
You got something like,
You've gotten more independence.
What's the connectivity? How is it connecting? Hardwire? Through the air?
It's satellite. It's satellite. Yes.
Satellite?
Yes.
Thank you.
We just have to make sure that we have the satellite system developed.
He confirmed that we're going to
that
do
was
that. When he was here.
How's
We asked him.
that affected by the clouds and
We have satellite service at a lot of our remote plants that are in the middle of nowhere, and we have never once had an issue with our internet. Now, that's not FirstNet. That's Starlink. I can't remember the other one. I apologize. But that's a pretty common thing anymore, and we have never had internet issues.
thank you.
Far less than we do with phone lines and things of that nature. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Verizon, we've done away with Verizon phone lines at plants because they're at the end of the line and trees fall down all the time. But the one place they had 12 Verizon calls last year for the phone line. If the satellite goes out for a day, you're still having happened. But you're no different than you were with the phone line.
Is it gigabyte? How many gigabytes?
Is that an initial cost or is that a monthly?
There's an initial and a monthly cost. The initial was that
8,000?
Yeah, 8,000.
180.
Yes. 8,180.
Oh, that's the savings.
Yeah, it's on the ice. Yeah, it's the summarization of the 2,500, the 2,700, and the 2,980. That's your bare minimum cost for this upgrade. Correct. And if you wanted to add the tank in the reservoir, which I think is a great idea, you're going to be a little bit higher, but you're still going to pay that off of it. To answer your question, Jerry, Matt asked that for DJ when we were on the phone with him. I do not have that information. I remember DJ saying it's going to be plenty more than what they need, but as far as that goes, I can't give you anything.
So it's more than a T1. It's more than a T1.
I believe so. Yeah, I think if you do anything, do that. It's going to save you money in no time. In my opinion, it will improve your service.
What's the cost for, this thing here, it says monitoring the well or controlling monitoring the well.
So to control and monitor the well, that is let's see, where are we at here? The well site was an additional $9,200. That's for control of the well site.
Is that another PLC out remotely?
That would include, yes, a PLC with all necessary I/O, 7-inch HMI screen, a UPS backup system, the cell router, your control panels, everything you have there. You gotta get this weekend.
That 9200 then, my question is, I don't have a problem sending it to have that capability, but if we are trying to proceed with payment tomorrow,
Absolutely.
can you turn around and pay for it, install it here, and then kind of move it?
I will ask, I believe you can, I will ask.
At least, is it a closed unit so that it's not affected by the weather? When
Not
it's
affected by
the weather? If it's out in the field and you're monitoring those wells, you're going to be exposed, or does it have its own enclosure?
It would be in the building itself.
Oh, you have a building out there?
For the well building.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. So, can we retrofit the wells?
Does the building have to maintain heat?
It has
For the-
it's heated right now, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, at that point, we just walk out there and we
You get all of that for $8,000.
9,200. There's a separate. This would be an additional 92 if the well building was installed, yes.
That sounds like a deal.
They do a full period and longer.
Yes.
We can do it for
A deal. A real deal.
Because we don't want to waste that. I agree, that's a great point, and I will check with BJ. My gut tells me, yeah, you should be able to, that should be able to. You have to pay less to do the work, but you have to.
the spec, like the specs that are here, we can do
As far as,
the cost.
that wouldn't be, but that wouldn't be an issue for what you have, what you have equipment you're getting. So, yeah, no, your pumps would be different, but this is just, this is a PLC with programmable I/O. It's pretty cut and dry.
We recommend that for maybe some
I definitely think the minimum should be done for sure, as far as upgrading your internet service and phone. I think that's a mistake. Yes.
That's going to save a lot of man hours traveling back, and yet you can remotely take care of it. Change.
There's very questions on the communication. If you have anything, if you think of anything after the meeting, give me a call, we'll talk through it. I know we're throwing stuff out and questions might come up as related to that. So, the last thing that I have on here was approach to the AccuStream meters. I did gather a little bit more information since I brought this, but the only reason I'm suggesting this is it would be a cost savings in the long run. Now, there's many different ways you could go about this with your water meters. Broad estimated that about 300 meters in the system needed to be replaced yet to the Census AccuStream meters, the meters you are currently upgrading to. He got a call about the meters being discontinued as AccuStream. They have some of those meters on hand. I talked to Vicki today, actually, and she had picked up 50 of these meters, apparently, and they stated that they had 550 left. Now, the cost difference from the AccuStream with the, I apologize, I do not know the meter that they are replacing that model with off the top of my head. But the cost difference was, it wasn't $80, it was $74 per meter. So, if you pre-purchased them, you should already purchase 50 of them that were needed. If you would pre-purchase it at $250, in the long run, you're going to save $19,000. Not a huge savings, it's a large upfront cost, but it's something to consider. $30,000. The upfront would be $30,000. If you wait, and assuming prices don't go up, you're going to pay an additional, $19,000. So you're going to spend $49,000 if you wait. Now, $19,000 is today's cost. There's a good chance those meters go up in cost between now and when you buy it.
If it's going to be anything like electronics, I've already got a warning that if I need anything, buy it now because everything's going to skyrocket.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to come down in price. That's what it's guaranteed.
We're going after the number.
No, that is outside of my knowledge. That is the number I was told. The accuracy of that number, I couldn't verify.
What does TIMA have as a budget for this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, those meters will save in reading time, won't it?
Absolutely, yes.
So you're saving in labor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The meters have to be updated sooner rather than later. It's going to save you labor in reading the meters. That's a fantastic point to bring up. Especially the bad reasons as well. That was everything that I had pre-prepared. I'm sure.
Any idea of those 300, like the age of them? They have 20 plus years.
Whenever I first got on the board, Bill, I can count something, but in 2016, they counted, they started switching over. They had a replacement program, and the new ones that they were buying were, we had some active streams, but we also had some more plastic.
I'll tell you if I got your names because there's.
We were buying them, but they were going on crazy rating. Once you go and pick that one, you're $130 in the broken one. Because you would buy a $100 one, an $80 one, and repair it. So once we found started to see a lot of failures, we asked the parents to go back and back on streams with the SR2. But yeah, they've had a replacement, but it's 15 here, 15 replaced in a year, and then they might go, I don't know about the past 2 years, but there was a section where they might want to replace 10 to 15 a year here and there with new customers, and then from 2021 to 2023 we did it because of the copper roll. We would turn going in pressure checking dumps, verifying all the information, and then if they had over 1 million gallons on it, we would complete the replacement.
There's been a lot of improvements in the last 20, 25 years. It used to be the older thing, we get in about 10 years, and the ratio of bypass, which you never get to what you want to sell, just keeps an exponential increase. 10 to 15 is a big jump, over the 20 is even more than that.
Yeah, the accuracy of the meters absolutely goes down over time now. If you're ever meter manufacturer now tells you that they're longer and they last longer. And the sales are
These meters are all going to be inside. They're not outside.
Fits to mine. We're putting in meter fits to my knowledge.
Wow.
Complicated? On new place. On new. Yeah, it's on new. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, if they're replacing the existing ones, it's not new.
These meter pits, are they heated or any way to keep them from freezing?
They're roughly 3 to 4 feet deep in the ground. They're below 36-inch cross line, and they have 2 lids with 2 styrofoam covers.
So
Failure meter pit is great. Yeah.
so it's like 55 degrees. Huh?
Two styrofoam things
There's things that can happen. They shouldn't. That's pretty much standard construction because getting into somebody's home can sometimes be an issue. And you're taking more responsibility on the further your service line comes off the road to the meter. You know what I mean? So the standard is we want to take that service line to their property line, we're going to put a meter pit there, everything else beyond that meter pit is the customer's responsibility.
Again, they're 4 feet deep.
However deep the service line is, and that's typically what we try to do, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Jeff, you had emailed me about an 8-inch line from the cost associated with it from the reservoir. 8-inch HDPE line installed, you're looking at roughly $100 a foot, which for a 4-mile line, $100. Could be more, could be a little more, could be a little less. We're fairly conservative.
The one grant that you're working on, when is it going to be tentatively awarded if you would get it?
April is their, I'm going to tell you correct information, I believe April is the date they will announce their awards, and closing is by July. And then you have 3 years from July, so July 26 to July 29 to spend that.
Thank you.
I can't remember if I sent it out, or if it was even brought up at last month's meeting, I can't remember. But the PA small water sewer grant for the tank rehab, fortunately there's no time to go for that. That was the, no, that was not November, that was in April of 25.
Whatever the answer is there.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. We do still have you have the LSA grant out there. And the SRBC one was submitted January 3rd as well. So you have 2 grants right now that we submitted. You will probably hear about the SRBC when you hear about the LSA.
Do you contact the officials, like our representatives and that, or do they need the...
I do not. For support letters,
Support.
I do not.
Do you think that's something that should be done?
Honestly, in our experience, there's almost no correlation with support letters and getting a work projects.
Thank you.
We've gotten support letters for almost every project, and I can't tell you my grants that we have or not because of those support letters. I just don't know what they're doing.
These grants, are they Commonwealth or federal?
That's a great question, Jerry. I honestly don't know. This is through the South Susquehanna River Basin Commission, SRBC. I don't know what I'm declared for that one. That's federal.
Thank you.
That's everything I have.
I have here a note for kind of, if we can just kind of get financial. just get financial records for the last 6 months. And then we can estimate the next 6 months, trying to see what we're bringing in and how much we think we can bring on the good spend. So for that one, I think that may be one. This needs to be looked at probably within the next year and a half. That's what I get this locked out. Brian Bed Sand, whenever I'm sure that the information's probably still on there. The reason I asked is whenever I try and look for it, I can't remember the exact meaning of it from the as-built for everything that we found in the code. I found it in the southern part of Pennsylvania and West Virginia and in the southeast part of Ohio. So I don't know, I think we're trying to figure out where we're documenting the plant. I asked Theo, as we built the plant, do we have any documentation of where we got it from? Really didn't have anything for me, but
I'll see if I can dig it out, the middle on that.
But yeah, it's trying to figure out. I think just with the sand and the trucking, depending on where you're at, where you're trying to go in from, I think it's supposed to be $11,000. That's not loading it out or continuing to do it.
And that was a couple of years ago, correct? I mean, you could put all this in one Pendex project, but, I mean, I think looking at your financials and where you're at, what you have to spend is a good way to go about it. Because you start putting things together, it's a good way to knock things out, but it's also a good way to take a lot of money. I think if these are smaller ones, if we start talking hundreds of thousands, yeah, you know what like the communications upgrades, I think those are things we can jump on and turn around pretty quickly and come out with because you wait for Pendex, we gotta put plans and drawings together and specs. We have to get permits. Pendex has to review everything, and you gotta wait for the board. And after that, you gotta go out and bid the project. Year 2 3 years out. Yeah, I mean, realistically, we started right now. If it's smaller stuff like this, we can get it done quicker, but it's going to slow you down.
I'm not sure the question that we can try and ask the office bank. We still have the $100 plus we had $150,000 for those in the appendix. Is that money we change? Is that money transferred into the general account?
I had made that recommendation, I don't know.
That's all I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Show me where it's not on paper so you know what to do.
Yep.
I mean, it's a wish list now, but if you get your wish list and more than your income,
Sure, absolutely.
so it's the 50,000 we had before is still there. I believe that's what it was before.
I had thought that you had the last disbursement from Pendex was for almost $250,000. Now, I'm guessing Tom kept some of that money in that account because you're going to pay your Pendex funds from that same account. They draw.
Just so we didn't have to come and transfer.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can. It's not a problem to move the money around. But I'm guessing he left some in. I think figuring out where you're at financially is your next step to start to get some of this done.
You feel that you can do one PLC and that communications package? They have the finances to do that?
I'm not going to speak on the financial aspect.
I was like, what was the question?
As you're probably going to make a recommendation based on what he suggested, But you're knocking out one of the PLCs, correct? And you're only going to get one? That's what it sounded.
I know. First, it does. The first thing I need to do is try and look at your financials, because I have no clue what's going on. So if there is money there for upgrades and you turn on have that capability, at that point you turn on your picking and choosing. If there's $250,000 there, you still want to turn on and keep some type of nest egg for a later date, but you do want to turn on upgrade. The first one I would suggest, in my opinion, would be your PLC here in the office, because that's your major cash.
Oh, I thought they already got that. You didn't get this one?
The PC.
They did the PC. That's what the PC.
Oh, okay.
There's too many letters. We have too many letters.
Well, I know
I
what.
knew that we got the PC and got that part of it, but I knew that there was nothing done on that or on here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what a PLC is.
Yeah, no, I know.
I've installed those.
We did the PC, we still got the PLC.
It used to be, if you had a capital improvement project, you had plans all laid out for steps. Any money that you spent, they have a time frame, like within 2 years. If you spent, okay, we're going to do half of step one, and then 3 months later do the other half of step one to fit your budget. But then when you apply for your grant and you get it, and you have 20-30% of your share, can you retroactive and go back what you spent?
That's what our discussion is with that 1.7 million that we were trying for that project. We didn't use all that money, plus the money the money that we had in engineering costs and planning for all that was in that. There wasn't a contingency there, was it? I know we got some of the contingency money back
It
also.
just used to be, as long as you kept the document and you could show that you applied to a specific.
The money from the Fenvest can come back to us, and that's what we were deciding.
Yeah, and you have to be careful on certain grants. There's certain grants that you can't start anywhere, you cannot retroactively. It depends on what grant you're applying for. Like I know the SRBC one, you are not eligible for any refunds on any work done before you award. So if we turn around like, hey, we're confident we're going to get something back here, we're going to start design work, and we start building the design, finish whatever's there, you're not going to get anything for that. And that's where it can really get messy, because you usually only have so long to spend that grant money, and there's certain aspects of the work that you've done.
Well, the question would be, that I would ask, is like every time that you come in here and we would talk to Leo, most of the time whenever he would turn and talk to us about these grants, everything had to be shoveled out. Well, you have to spend money up front to turn around and plan everything out, and then then after that, you pretty much turn around and you keep applying for these grants, and you paid all that money out to turn and get nothing.
And Penvest is one where you can take out a line of credit to be reimbursed for engineering that you've done up front with the project. I mean, we've had multiple clients that do that. They'll go out and take out a line of credit so that we can start our engineering work, knowing that they are going to apply for it. That's how a lot of people fund large, Penvest projects. We took out a line of credit, they did the engineering work, we paid the engineering out of that line of credit. We've now sent it out, we got our award on Penvest, we put out the bid, we've got numbers, Penvest is finalized, now we can be reimbursed for all of that line of credit that we spent in engineering. Penvest is okay with that. It just depends on what funding agency you're with. Everybody does things a little different. LSA loves shovel-ready projects, but they get counted with applications every year, and you never know what you're going to get. We put in for $600,000 at Jersey Shore. They gave us $60,000 on that and said you can start with engineering. Well, the problem is you can only use 10% of whatever you're granted for engineering. So you get $6,000, we can't do anything for $6,000 on a $600,000 project. You jump through hoops, and sometimes it bites you. But
What do you think, Casey? Whatever.
good place to start. See what our cash flow is. How far are you doing that? 6 months?
I mean, when has the meter reads been good? They're getting a lot better. I mean, they were. So I was just telling them, gotta get the meters read if you're gonna figure out your cash flow. I mean, gotta be ready.
I have a question about that road from 2023 to now. Is this because they come in after the problem, or do we recommend that for 20 years, every quarter, all that data, and we can go on? Your water source for 2023, 24, and 25. I was just curious if anybody was looking into that.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, financially though, if we have the capability, I don't see any problem with that. The only thing that I would kind of have a problem with the one
was putting money
into something if it's going to be outdated or useless.
I will absolutely get you an answer to that before the meeting next week. And I'll let everybody know.
For the plant for well too, I mean.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess we have to decide whether what's more important, the DLC or that.
I would give your PLC fund first.
Yeah, the 90 feet, that 9,200 to
Yeah. If that goes down, you don't have to worry about whatever you have going on as well. That would be, and that's kind of why I put it first. You know, I think work through those. The ones kind of beyond number 1 and 2, you can put those in whatever order you like. Again, I will say, upgrading the internet services, I would try to do that as soon as possible. Just because you're going to kickstart your paying that back tomorrow.
For the meeting on Monday, I think trying to send an email saying we recommend that, and then just go through your email recommendation to approve the $17,000 supervisor PLC.
You want that added to the agenda for Monday's meeting?
That way, whenever we found the ones that we were thinking of, we're going to add those to the agenda so we can really just vote on that.
Again, how old are these PLCs?
Those are the plant.
More than 20 years old.
Not much has changed in computers since then. So.
But I did a little research, and they said that 20 years is the max, but usually at 10 years you replace them.
Yeah, I mean, we have really good, for what it's worth, I mean, we have really good luck with these Paul, which is now ARIA PLCs.
Is that who would do it, Paul, or would it be?
No, this would be DJ. And DJ's approved to do that. He does it on all of our smaller systems because Paul's going to come in and ARIA's going to come in and bend it really.
If one of those would go down, do you have loaners?
No, they can local, if you have an issue on a local plant, they can still operate here from the main PLC. That's why we have them set up that way, so you have redundancy. If one goes down, you can still operate.
Sounds good.
But,
thank you.
Yep. PLC, and then the skid PLCs will follow. And then again, I'll just throw out the internet operating system. I would find $8,000 anywhere possible to get that upfront cost. I will check into the tank and the well site. Fire quality. The tank and the reservoir, sorry, where you go.
Is the wall on there too?
The internet is on it for the well, yes.
As part of that,
We say that, reach the reservoir.
CW Automation did not verify that. We're pretty confident it would when we brought it up to him. He just didn't go out and check, which he could do.
Just think about what are the finances for their meter.
Sure.
we don't really use the sense of fairness.
I'm saying there's a big push talking about grants and stuff. American Water Works. They mentioned grants and the Susquehanna elevation concern for it. Like anything that can help reduce the water loss, like purchasing big protection equipment, stuff like that. It's starting to push that. What's coming push now?
And that was the consumptive use grant that we did apply for, in January, yes, that is correct.
Speaking of, change that a little bit. What's related, meters? I could never pay my bill, I had 0 water meters. She said, oh, no, there's snow over my head. I said, well, you have, if we tell you protocol on what to do, because it won't affect me because I'm such a low user. But, you guys with family, at least you guys with families, if you get a 0 read and you use 4,000, next month you get a full 3,000, but you just paying the minimum and the base this time, you're going to pay for extra more than what you should. We used to have, if you got a 0 read and just get their average read, plug that in and then compensate the difference on the next read to give the average. She said she didn't know how she was to handle it. And I said, well, I know from experience if people get like what I just described, I use 4,000 and I got whatever that comes out to, 8 cents an hour. But now I'm up into this range and instead of a 60 dollar bill, I got an 80. They're going to clear our rate. So you better have something set on how to handle it with more than a lot of trouble.
Bill, I absolutely, that's what we were told, I'm not saying that's not true, I was told that, she was instructed to, take their average for, I don't know how many months, but I was told to.
Yeah, I was in a conversation, I said, well, it doesn't matter to me, it's not going to affect me, I use like 450.
Because I had asked about the meter reads, how they were going this month, because I know they were short-handed.
I'm not complaining, I'm just trying to save water. You know, a lot of people on the system, I mean, themselves, you get a jump in the bill, they ain't happy. I'll let you know they're like that. That's all, that's all.
So I will, Jeff, you want me to put everything on the agenda or just the priority ones?
I would say your supervisor, your first PLC.
Yep.
Like the drying bed, you're not going to try and do that.
Agreed.
Shoot for June sometime. Lighting, I mean, you can see it here now, so I mean, as long as it's being scheduled within the next 3 to 6 months. Communication upgrade is definite.
Yep.
AccuStreams, we need to kind of have an accurate number. We should be able to kind of pull that with the accounts on the computer. We should be able to kind of tell.
Yeah, we have this many AccuStreams.
That way you can get an actual. You don't want to spend 300 by 300 meters.
You need to get 100, or you know, 200.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
This place will blaze if you put LEDs in here.
I just put them in my basement too. That's made a huge difference. Anybody else anything? Appreciate everybody's time. So cool.
Skylar, no problem.
How do you want to turn on this for the meetings? Do you want them to come?
For the board meetings or for these?
Well, if we have something turn on going on, you could be there. But if we know a week ahead of time that we don't have nothing for you, is it beneficial for you to even?
I mean, I always say, GEF is here for whatever you guys need, whether that's every day you want us to be here, or if it's completely up to the board. You just need to let me know. If you know we don't have a lot going on and you just want me to provide a written report that I can include as part of the agenda, I mean, I prepare an engineer's report if I'm here or I'm not. You know, that's completely up to the authority. We are ready to do whatever you guys need us to do, whatever you feel is best in your interest. If you're not going to hurt my feelings, if you call me and say, hey, not a lot going on, let's stay a couple blocks and not come. I do that for a lot of our clients. A lot of our bigger ones, I don't even attend their meetings, honestly, but completely up to you.
If you're going to do this much, there's certainly a lot more board and engineering and actually.
If we can get this stuff hashed out in just a general regular meeting, and then whenever we go to the board meeting, you're already trying handling the stuff on the agenda, and if there are loose items that try to come up along the way, those should be taken care of within the month, within like a week after the meeting. We just need to get back on schedule, that's all.
The only thing I wish is every asset that has some type of a graph, like what you said, what like these upgrades, or each one have a, so you can keep track of where we're at on it, just like the computer stuff.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Like an assessment plan on how everything overall?
Like overall, this is what it's going to take to do it. These are the priorities. Of course, they shift, they change.
It's nothing for me to put this in a paper. I would gladly do that and share it with the board. That's my thought.
I just meant it would be, it's easier to focus.
It's easier to understand too, I think, what he's saying.
Absolutely.
Just like the tank. Every main asset, the distribution, you break it into a section. If you got, so much left to worry about what I do. Now you can concentrate on, if you're going to airlines and end up with real bad numbers, then you know you need to fix, replace.
I'm glad you brought that up, though. The question I would have for this guy was that we've known about the problem up at the storage tank now since 2023 when they sent out a letter in. Like, the whole bottom down, what I knew about is no good. Yeah, I mean, what would be a...
I wasn't obviously here at that time. I'm sure Leah, I would like to take a look at it. You said it was camera inside, right? Does Leah have a copy of that?
I believe that's going to come back.
I would get me being the class. Okay. I would like to look at it, and that's a vital component of the system. If it's in bad enough shape, we need to look at getting, I know we're going to wait for the rent on it, but if it doesn't come, it doesn't matter if it's
My question is, that bottom, like the bottom panel, that's structurally, the bag goes the whole thing.
correct.
We can't turn around and go down in the concrete and replace that panel.
I don't know that tank, I apologize, I don't know that tank. I'm going to have to look into it. Yeah, we're right. I don't look it up.
The panels on the inside, glass fixed in, but then, that panel's got the key.
Is this still gold? I mean, I don't see no money about it. Is this still gold?
Anyway, they come up there out of cement, they did glass.
That's my next question, is the glass line.
Anybody have a VH on that? Because I paid that. You can see what
I have VHF. Mr. Chairman,
Is there anything you can do?
Yeah, I just want to know, are we going to have to come and think about a new tank altogether? You know, $400,000 or...
Can you fix it on the line?
Committee Chairman, are you going to have this meeting next month?
Oh, I thought he said mention. Yeah, I'd like to.
I think these are really productive meetings.
Yeah, it gives us, from today, it gives us 1 week to kind of work on everything things so that whenever we present for the agenda next Monday.
Very good.
I'll get you some answers on the tank. The waste pump, I'll check out some drawings. See what I can come up with for that. I will look into the water program for the energy saving. And what else? The meters. I can't remember about that. I'll follow up with those so we can answer.
That price on the meters, how long is that going to be?
I couldn't answer. I mean,
That sounds really reasonable for $74?
no. It's a $74 difference between the one that you're using and the one that you need to go to.
Oh, okay.
It's
I couldn't hear it.
$118 or $19.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.